Hi. Good morning, guys. Yes. Lovely. Sir, would you like to view from that side? You also as well. That's a tradition. It's a small tradition. And where the other people also coming? Okay. So, should we start? Should we wait for them?
I believe it's still start.
It's start.
Look at wait for Zana and Iman's coming.
Which wait? Can I have sir, you please come and sit inside? Meanwhile. Ashwara, can I have juice? We have a small tradition. It's we actually didn't officially, neither traditionally open the center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
How
many parts? Just one? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, sir. Well, I'm going to be your guide now. I'm going to show you around the place and I'll tell you everything about here. So, this facility is a 2,000 square foot facility, which will be providing all kinds of services to the students who would like to study in Latvia. They will be students from different parts of South India who will be visiting us here. So here you can see we first start with the timing part. That's India and that's Latvia. We have partner universities here. And out here we have all these 7 partners with Japan. Students will be encouraged to come here, stay some time here. That's the god Sai Baba. It's one of the very oldest god we have. He was human as well, many hundreds of years ago. Yeah. For prosperity. So, I'll be really happy if you can have a seat here and give us a picture with the.
Sure.
These will be coming here. That will be good for them.
Then I'm first sitting.
Yes, please.
Okay. So first student is missing.
This will be place where we.
Okay.
So please don't stand. Just make sure that the thing at the back also coming.
Okay. Ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Much more seminars out here, specifically for Riga. It's the engineering market.
Map of Riga is missing.
All center. Here we will be doing filling hostels for students who can't visit us. So we'll be having a team of 5 people. Two people can sit here.
Enough talking, please join us. What do I understand rules? So good luck to all of us now. Shall I light something else? Yeah. No?
We're looking forward to our lady luck.
Well, it's been good so far. Es domāju, ka arī pārējās
Tagad izslēgts.
pievienosies, jā. Liekas, ka līdz galam neticēju, ka tas vispār.
Peace. Nice to meet you.
We start.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the owner's side.
It's okay, I'll take it. fragrance you can see here, it's you normally get in South India. Sorry? Yeah, in the hair, in the puja rooms, repair rooms, yeah.
There is a test. Please. Jā, šitie te publika.
Šitie te jau.
Mums nesaprast arī.
Īsti nesaprast.
Join us for Latvian puja.
Please.
Vakar izstāst. Jā, jā. Arī droši.
The candy.
All the team, you did an amazing job. This is, I think, there are very nice facilities to start, and we think that from Latvia, this group of universities and higher educational institutions will come and do what they can for this cooperation between Latvian and Indian students. Of course, we like to get your students or exchange students, and I think also for Indian people this will be a good opportunity to go to Europe and to get other culture and also technical or business or other education, what is I think on good level in Latvia in general, and this is proved by several tests from the European Union and other organizations that our higher education is of good quality. For you, especially for ladies and for organizers and Zane and Igors, and let's hope our future will be at least friendly.
Thank you, sir. Amen. For cooperation.
For cooperation.
Cheers.
Oh, we all welcome to do that.
Pirmais punkts.
Cheers. I think I would like to say a word here as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. It's a really pleasure to have you here. I'm sure we really need your support and guidance in the future as well. And thanks to Dr. Pans and Imans to fly all the way from Latvia for 2-3 days. And a very special thanks to Zane. Thank you so much in believing in us and helping us and supporting us all the way for the last 2.5 years.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Another one is Anika can come. We can send them first.
Just for 10 minutes, you can wait.
Yeah. We
The
have
person who will be doing the registration
Yeah,
desk has to go first.
yeah. So what we do is that.
Because all the
and the spirits are calling, and I got down on my knees. Welcome to my country, here you can come wrong. Stay with me forever, stay along as you want. So welcome to my country, winter, spring, or fall. Don't you hear me crying? Don't you hear my call? Beautiful mornings, beautiful nights, amazing colors of the twilight. Time goes on forever as I left through the past. So where are you now? I cried out at last. Welcome to my country, here you can come wrong. Stay with me forever, stay long as you want. So welcome to my country, winter, spring, or fall. Don't you hear me crying? Don't you hear the calls? So welcome to my country, winter, spring, or fall. Don't you hear me crying? Don't you hear my call? So welcome to my country, winter, spring, or fall. Don't you hear me crying? Don't you hear my call?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to have you all here today for opening ceremony of Study in Latvia Center in Chennai. Latvia, our most dynamic country in Europe. Today is going to be a very exciting day for all of us as we have our dear friends here. First and foremost, I would like to introduce you to Professor Ribskis, Rector of Riga Technical University. Dr. Tipans from Riga Technical University from International Department. Mr. Imansberg, Vice Rector, Riga University. And Zane Polora from Riga Technical University International Department, Deputy Director. To set the scene, next 1 hour is all about study in Latvia. We will hear some great information about Latvia and higher education in Latvia, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the information as well. Therefore, I would like to request Dr. Ribskis to please come on stage and share his thoughts about Latvia with us.
Well, my task is introduce you with some data about Latvia. I just must stop that. And sorry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm great honor to be here, and this is very important to open this study center in Latvia, here in Chennai, in India, not only for my university, Riga Technical University, but also for all Latvia together, because several universities together are doing this event, and I need, where is full screen? Just down. No, this is. Well, no good. Anyway, Latvia is European state. This is in Europe, you know, where is United Kingdom, of course, and then Germany. And here at Baltic Sea, we can see this circle where is located Latvia. And capital of Latvia is Riga. We are living around 1 million people, and our native language is Latvian. We have parliamentary republic, and our businesses are basically forestry, wood processing, and food processing, and pharmaceutical products, electronics, machine building, and others. Here you can see our republic, how it's closer, and we have at the Baltic Sea coastline, sandy beach, like you have here at Chennai, but this length of our beach is around 400 kilometers, and Riga Bay is very good for sailing. Well, our nature is basically we have all country covered with wood. We are living in green country, no big mountains, but many lakes and rivers, and you can see something in those pictures. At this moment we have a deep winter with minus 15 degrees, but in couple weeks will be warmer, around 0, and then spring is coming. Well, I told about some activities in business. You can see agriculture, food production around 20%, wood products 15%, then metal articles also 14%, the same products of chemical industry, then minerals are coming. Foreign trade with major partner countries like our neighbors, Lithuania, Estonia, Russia, then Germany, Sweden, Poland, Finland, Netherlands, and others. Services export by items. You can see that transit is taking the biggest part, around half of all services what we are exporting. And then foreign trade. In 2011, Latvia was one of the fastest growing economies in European Union. The same is also now, and we have free trade principles in our state. Latvia is EU country and member of Schengen and active participant of the World Trade Organization. Customs and border procedures have been standardized for effective planning and coordination with trade partners around the world. Promising business sectors, I can tell you that woodworking is very active, and key advantages of that is easy access to raw materials, abundance of skilled labor, high rate of private investment and research and development possibilities, sustainability of the industry. Then metalworking, mechanical engineering. We also are producing some buses in Latvia, different types of them. Also some equipment for railway, like electrical machines and traction drive systems and wagons. And key advantages are also skilled and cost-effective workforce, excellent logistics infrastructure, and easy access to raw materials of all kinds of them. Transport and storage. We are in the middle of Europe at Baltic Sea, and therefore historic transport and trade gateways through Latvian ports are organized with old history or deep history, excellent infrastructure, including also pipelines for gas and oil, annual increase in freight volumes, 3 ice-free ports, and shortest route between European Union and CIS countries. Well, if we are talking about this gateway between United States, European Union, and Asia, like Riga, Liepāja, Ventspils, are closely linked with country's infrastructure by railroad and pipelines. And around 80% of transit freight is transported through these ports. Total cargo throughput rate in Latvia ports in 2012 is more than 75 million tons. So, some more data, but I can tell you that also in aviation sector we are doing good because we have Riga International Airport, leading air transport and transit center for 3 Baltic states with direct flights to more than 80 destinations around the world. And one of the most competitive also is our airline company, Air Baltic, but we are accepting many other companies from all over the world. Well, transit sector, railway is very important. We have direct connections to Moscow and Siberia and different destinations to Kazakhstan and other countries, to Asia. And cargo to and from Latvian ports are mainly transported by rail. And in cargo transportation, the prevalent is the transit of oil products, chemicals, and mineral fertilizers, what we have. The railway legislation is coordinated with the legislation of European Union. Well, we have also rather good roads, connections from north to south, from Helsinki, Tallinn. We can go down to Lithuania, Kaunas, Vilnius, and then Poland and Germany, and also to east to Moscow. All roads are public and toll-free. Energy sector. If you are talking about gas, basically it's natural gas. Latvia has unique natural resource, Inčukalns gas reservoir, the largest natural gas storage reservoir in Europe, with a capacity of approximately more than 4 billion cubic meters, providing gas storage for the other two Baltic states, Estonia and Lithuania, and the western border areas of Russia. Actually, if we are using all stored gas, then Latvia can survive 2 years with this gas stored underground. Electrical power, we are providing around 95% of all electricity what we need, and more than 70% electricity produced by our biggest company, Latvenergo, is made from renewable and environmentally friendly energy sources. The biggest stations are hydropower stations. Here is picture of gross inland energy consumption. Only very small part is where we are using solid fuel, then oil products, gas, and renewables are three basic sources. Business environment. Well, World Bank research doing business 2014 ranks Latvia as 24th out of 189 countries for easy of doing business, measuring quantitative indicators of regulations and protection of property rights. Three free ports and special economic zones offer favorable tax conditions. Many technology parks are located in major cities across Latvia. And labor force in Latvia is well educated with one of the highest rate of university attendance in the world. And if you are talking about education system in Latvia, then it comprises of preschool education, then 9-year basic education, upper secondary education, and then higher or university education. In universities and higher educational institutions, we have 3-level education: bachelor, master, and doctor. In general, doctorate is 3 years in Latvia, but in Riga Technical University, we have 4-year doctoral studies. 6 public universities and also more private higher educational institutions like university colleges. Latvia has second highest enrollment rate per 10,000 population. It is 552. And actually at this moment we have around 95,000 students on our little bit more than 2 million people. And we have many study programs in different universities and higher educational institutions, close to 1,000. Well, if we are talking about research, priority areas are energy research, information technologies, material science, including nanotechnologies, biomedicine, pharmacy, forest science, and environmental science. Of course, in humanities area, we have electronics. That's normal for every country. Total number of research institutions are 88. Some facts maybe you don't know about Latvia. We have a very fast telecommunication infrastructure in the world, providing connections with customers. We are fifth globally for average measured internet connection speed, 7.8 megabyte pixels, and seventh globally for broadband connectivity, about 5 Mbps. And Latvia is a country that gave James Bond his camera, Minox. It was invented in Riga. An inventor was Walter Zapp. And several episodes from Indian films, Bollywood spy film Agent Vinod, were shot in Riga. And Latvian language is one of the closest languages to Sanskrit. We have common words like, here is written some of them, like virs or husband. You are pronouncing vira and others. Well, thank you very much, and travel to Latvia, not only to study.
Dr. Tipans will continue with his presentation.
James. Hey, Dave. How are you? Good. Great. Haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
Yeah, Asia?
No, too far. Latvia.
Latvia, really? What about Latvia?
Latvia. It's a great place. You should check it out.
Yeah? Living the good life there?
That too, as well as running my own microchip factory, using Latvian ports to ship my products to Scandinavia, trading with Russia and, yeah, Asia too.
Wow. Wow. You wouldn't mind telling me a little bit more about that?
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I begin,
Do you want a bit of coffee?
just like to extend a few greetings.
You see, the one thing that strikes me about Latvia is that it's not only the largest trade hub of the Baltics, but it's basically a geographical hotspot.
Yeah? What do you mean by that?
Well, look, you've got Scandinavia on one side, Russia on another, Poland, Germany on another, and Latvia right in the middle of the action. So whenever I'm aiming overseas, I've got 3 international ice-free ports to choose from, and if I need Russia, I've got a direct rail link that goes straight from Latvia to Moscow. But the best thing is, it's just a 2-hour flight away from all the Western capitals.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
So what'd you do, move your whole company there?
Didn't need to.
Well, who's running it then?
They are.
Locals.
Of course. Initially, I was a bit skeptical too. Then I realized they've got one of the highest university enrollment rates in the world. And almost everyone I meet speaks 3 languages: Latvian, Russian, and English. So, when I was hiring, I got heaps of applications, more than I could have asked for.
Heaps of applications don't mean they have any skills.
That may be true, but you certainly need to know a thing or two about skills if you're the largest pharmaceuticals manufacturer in the Baltics, or design systems for Kenwood, Panasonic, develop technologies for NASA, or make microphones for Lady Gaga.
Sounds good.
I think that sounds good. The corporate tax rate is 15%, one of the lowest in Europe, and it takes 1 day to launch a company.
James, 1 day?
1 day? Right, but what's the catch? And don't tell me there isn't one.
Do you enjoy nature?
Sure, why not?
Then you'll have to deal with this. Take it in. Doesn't get fresher than that. After all, it's one of the greenest countries in the world. You enjoy music, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Then you've got to go to the Opera House. It's phenomenal. And you're bound to bump into some of today's top performers, like I did last week, as it happens. And restaurants, well, don't get me started. There's everything from local organic cuisine to my beloved English pub. And Riga, the capital city, just take a look around you. It's a work of art.
Hey, tell me again, when did you come here?
I tell you what, 3 years ago, and I have never looked back since.
Hello to everyone. My name is Igor Stipans, and I'll try to tell a little bit about Latvian education system. We have a rather short history of higher education, because the first institution of higher education was established in 1862. If you compare with universities in Spain and Italy, of course, our universities are much younger. But I need to say that higher education in Latvia was starting with engineering education, because the first university, which was set up in 1862, was Riga Polytechnics. At that time, we were in Tsarist Russia, and it was the oldest school in Tsarist Russia, and I need to say in northeastern Europe as well. Basically, after that, we experienced different periods in higher education. There was University of Latvia founded, and after many different schools, with one conceptual goal, that Latvian education should be sufficient to satisfy needs of Latvian labor market, Latvian industry, economics in all fields. But then there was a change. After 2004, after joining EU, basically there is just one market, which is EU market. As it was told by Rector Rebickis, we belong to EU, Schengen, NATO, and now since January 1, we belong also to Eurozone. So our currency is Euro, which means we are now full member of this high group of EU members, which also means that our education should be adapting to those needs as well. So there is just one market, and obviously our universities should serve that. I need to say that Latvian universities, from the very beginning, in fact, in the 19th century, they always have been research, industry, innovations-oriented. There always has been skilled labor. A literacy rate in Latvia in the 19th century, I'm not sure quite precisely, but I think it was 90–95%. So it was always like that. And of course, people were tended very much to get the best educations they could. Our universities, since they were young, they could follow really the best academic traditions of Europe. Mobility, which is concerning academic staff and students as well. Diversity, which is about our education systems and programs. And universities were able to adapt to dynamic industries developing in Latvia. During the Soviet times, many of Latvian industries were pioneering in such fields as electronics, mechanical engineering, and the same, of course, was concerning education as well. Latvia joined Bologna process, which made possible real mobility of our students from different universities to be participants of unique European education space. At the same time, which in fact I think was quite good for different Latvian universities, now we are living in a very competitive environment. it should be understood that Latvia joined EU in 2004, having quite often hard times in its history. And now we need to compete with very established nations in the field of education, like Germany or Sweden, Denmark. And obviously, we need to be very highly competitive to not to lose our students. We have been quite successful, again, being young members of EU, to participate and to be leading teams in different large scope science projects. The same is concerning education as well. If we talk about European education, I need to tell that there are new opportunities opening for cooperation between European and Asian universities. Some of Latvian universities, both public and private, were pioneering, in fact, even before the new program Erasmus+, which started just now and will be lasting several more years, I guess till 2020, which is providing a great opportunity for students from Europe and Asia and other continents to understand each other. So basically, Erasmus exchange scheme for academic staff and students work in such a good way that it was a clear decision to make it global. Definitely, in the field of education, it's really the best scheme I could imagine, because it definitely works in both directions. One of the schemes existing even before, it was Erasmus Mundus scheme, which was cooperation between EU countries and so-called third countries, which might be South America or Asia. And Riga Technical University is now partner in several EU-funded projects. But one of them is Project Intervive, which is a cooperation project with several Asian universities, and VIT Vellore University is also a partner in that. Just a few days ago, I was in Vellore. I was quite happy to see campus. I really enjoyed the place. We had a serious discussion about how the cooperation should go. Professor Rybitsky signed cooperation agreement between two universities. That's exactly the way how cooperation between universities should go. Because normally when students come and staff comes as well to discuss which are the overlapping problems for both universities, then real cooperation can start. We are happy that there is application process now for Indian students to participate in this EU exchange scheme with a deadline, I think it's February 27th, so there is a time for students to join, which is quite a generous scheme, in fact. Really, students shouldn't think about some kind of part-time job, which usually is during any kind of education fairs told to them. They get scholarship which is sufficient really to do exactly what they are supposed to do. Study, have research work, and enjoy different culture. What is Latvian education offering? My colleague will tell later about specific programs, more concretely. But I need to say that there is a different variety of programs in engineering, business, tourism, management, banking, agriculture, basically in all these areas where Latvia is quite strong. If we talk about programs, very briefly, I would say it's like a good combination of traditional programs like tourism, for example, law, or mechanical, electric engineering, but at the same time we have some kind of niche products, which might be, let's say, medical physics, for example, or aviation, ground services, avionics. It was quite, I would say, historically so, even from the very first days of our higher education, that there was a big motivation to keep study fees low. If you talk about $2,000–3,000 US per year, I think it's quite acceptable for many people to get the right education. It's usually a question in Latvia, because we are not having so big international expat communities, even in Riga. Why do we need international students? Of course, it's my subjective view, but I guess, first of all, we need to create international spirit at any university. It was existing in the very beginning in the 19th century at Riga Polytechnics, when it was joint research efforts of German, Polish, Russian, Latvian scientists. And I would say it was one of the most productive periods in our history, in fact, because then we had these 2 Nobel Prize winners. The School of Chemistry was founded, which still exists now, which also allows our chemical industry to survive hard times and be prosperous now in EU. You need to have this international spirit in the university. You need to have exchange of thoughts. And of course, regardless which countries the students coming from, you really need to have this joint, unique atmosphere, which should be a true characteristic of any university. I'm quite happy that not just big public universities, but also private schools like Business School Turiba, Banking School, some other schools are really following that path. Even being private, they still strive to get appropriate tuition fees and really getting sufficient number of students. Again, thinking more about consequence, have this large group of international students at school. Obviously, large impact which different Latvian universities have is a number of international exchange students coming. It's a large group. For example, at Riga Technical University, each year we have about 300 international students coming as exchange students from mostly from Germany, France, Spain, Turkey, but also from Singapore. We have very good partners as NUS, and we have Korean students and students from Central Asia, which is our main, I would say, partner in education. Obviously, international students are needed to be competitive. Otherwise, even if we are a member of the EU, Latvia is still a small part of the EU. And obviously, if you think about just one technical university in a country, it's very easy to get trapped in isolation. You think that you are the best one, and you keep thinking like that. Now, open European education space makes you always to work hard, to be competitive. And of course, our international students coming from very prominent universities, like technical universities from different German cities, like Munich, Dresden, and so on, of course, there are clear characteristics about quality of our education programs. Our international office is quite sensitive to that. So we usually talk to students, we compare programs and courses about the quality, and obviously, we have very strong feedback from our international students. Another thing, of course, is that we need to open Latvia to the world. Because one thing, of course, is Riga is a very preferred destination, both for CIS countries and EU. As a tourist destination, we have cruise ships coming into Port of Riga. We have nice beaches, as Rector Revitsky said. We have quite nice summers. Don't be afraid of snow, etc. No, summer is different. Summer is 25 and more sometimes. So tourists are coming. But definitely we would like to see us as a good business partner, which is happening, but also as a good place for education. I think there is something missing. You know, the issue, of course, is that why Latvia should be chosen as a destination. There is one thing that, first of all, obviously, it's a new destination, especially for Indian students. But since we have this, I would say, sufficient initial number of international students, now I think Latvian universities in total have about 200 Indian students. This group is sufficient to think about developing of new programs where students may come in a larger amount. We think that our tuition fee scheme is quite flexible. Programs are welcoming international students. Another thing, of course, if you compare with European universities, is that we provide accommodation for students. It was well decided by Latvian law that if you invite someone, you need to provide space. And normally when we write immigration letters, we need to tell exact address where student might be living. So basically, student families might be quite sure that they will get a place to live. Finally, I would say that there is something else what all international students should keep in mind. it's not just academic issues, but of course there should be something very much about the spirit which should be coming along with education. I would say, and I'm quite convinced, that international students in Latvia are really getting not just academic knowledge, which will help in their careers, but they are getting also a knowledge of different culture or cultures. Europe is very diverse. You can very easily reach absolutely different cultures and language, etc. But they also have this very international spirit, which keeps them interested and curious, not just in science, but also in other nations for the rest of the life. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Tepans. I would like to invite Zane Pullura from International Office of Riga Technical University.
Thank you, Dipender. I've got the most difficult task as I'm the last one. Are you still awake, all of you? All right. Can you raise the hand if you have heard word Latvian pronounced as many times per one day before? Have you? All right. Okay, I'm going to provide you more details. I'm going to stop torturing you because we promised that lunch is going to be at 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, but we started 10 minutes later. So I'm going to have those 10 minutes and we're going to start 10 past 1. So, today, baby has born. And I feel like the very proud mother, and even more so proud that Latvia is the 5th European country opening its official representation center in India. So there are 24 member states, like just to get your detail straight. And then here you can see that where we are located, that's our India office in Chennai. And it makes me even more so happy that the first office opens here, and it gets opened in India, which has, during those past 3 years since I've been coming here, very dear to my heart. And that center has been established by 7 Latvian universities. Here, all of them are listed, but now during my presentation, I'm going to go quickly throughout all of them, and as well the yellow folder which you received, that there are the profiles of all 7 universities, and which provides a lot more information about them than I'm going to be saying here. First one, and the one I'm representing, is Riga Technical University, which is the oldest university in Latvia and is a center for engineering science and research. We are a public university and internationally recognized, at the moment gathering about 16,000 students. We have the largest number of study programs which are taught in English. At the moment we are offering 37 study programs fully taught in English. As my colleagues already mentioned, that Latvia as well is the attractive destination because of its tuition fee, that the tuition per 1 year is about 1,40,000. We have more than 450 partners worldwide, including the partners from India as well. All students are guaranteed accommodation, and all our full-time students can as well apply for the exchange semester abroad. Plus, we offer the opportunity for students that they can access our business incubators as well. Then moving away from Riga Technical University, we are going to a second oldest university, which is the University of Latvia, the classic university. And in English, and for this market, they're specifically offering the studies of medicine. And then, if we leave the capital city and go by car 3 hours, we reach Liepāja, which is the 3rd largest city of Latvia. And University of Liepāja is located there, which is a main regional university in that center. And for the international students, they are offering computer science, physics, and new arts media. And then moving towards Riga, we have a city called Jelgava, and Latvia University of Agriculture is located there. And as the name says for itself, they do specialize in the agriculture. Then we are back in the capital city, and we have a banking school of business and finance, which was established by the Bank of Latvia. And they offer the dual degrees together with a Swiss business school. So upon the graduation, students can get both Latvian and the Swiss degree. And they specialize in the finance and business. Then we've got here as well a colleague from Turība University, but I will speak on his behalf today, because Turība as well is a private university, largest one from the private institutions located in the capital city. And they specialize in the tourism education, and they are leaders in the Scandinavia and Baltics for the tourism education. Then moving to the Study in Latvia Center, why is it important for us, and why did we made this step, and why did they establish a center? Because we want to act as a platform for both for your institutions, for our institutions, and for the students, that we could initiate different international programs, projects. Some of them are already going on. I'm going to briefly talk about them shortly. And we'd like to introduce a different exchange schemes, training, short-term training, whether it's here or the students come to Latvia. And as well, we would like to make sure that the information which is given to the students and the institutions come from the primary source. So there will be the center which you can approach, the parents can come and approach us, and they know that all the information given is correct. And what are our plans for this year? Well, the official opening took place today, which is 31st of January, and we do have plans for the rest of the year. First, our partners, like as we are 7, they'll be as well visiting India and establishing the partnerships. Then we work on the cooperation project. My colleague Dr. Tipans already mentioned about the Erasmus Plus, Erasmus Mundus. At the moment there is the Interviv Erasmus Mundus program open, which gives a full scholarship, plus it covers travel costs, and open for the Indian higher education institutions. Plus, as well, we are planning to encourage the faculty visits, which involve the guest lecturing, both our professors coming here, and of course, we inviting Java professors to come to Latvia. Thank you very much, and as I said, it's going to be sweet and short. Now, if you have any questions, then please.
What is your admission cycle, and when you start admitting students, and what kind of students, what is the admission process that you follow? What is the admission process that you follow to take students in, and what is your intake pattern? Do you take it for fall, autumn, and things like that?
Okay, it works now. We have 2 intakes. We have one in September, another one in the February. And if we speak entry requirements, then for our bachelors, like those who want to study bachelor, they have to have 10+2. And specifically for engineering, then they have to have math as one of the main subjects. We wouldn't take students with the background in humanities or in arts. And for the master studies, then it has to be 4 years bachelor, and we don't really recognize Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science as such. Any other questions, please? Use the opportunity that we are here, and we are willing to answer to the questions.
More about the scholarship you are offering.
About the scholarships, it works that we are the partner in the big European project, and students would apply to study at one of amongst 10 European universities. They select one, then there is a committee meeting of that project, and they select the student. If the student's application gets approved, then that means the student can get the scholarship starting for 6 months, going up to 36 months for studies in one of the European universities. As well, didn't mention, but now we are signing the governmental agreement between India and Latvia. And once that has been completed, then Indian students will qualify as well for the Latvian government scholarship.
If I may, I would like to add about the Interview project. If you open the website, it may seem that there is a pool of partners, like we have EIT, excuse me, in Vellore. But there are different target groups, and you should be careful that they are target group 2 and 3, and then all Indian students which qualifies then can apply for this program. It's quite essential. It's not just partners.
Okay, what about the placements opportunities? Placement, employment opportunities after completing this?
I would say, as for Riga Technical University, placement is 98%, I guess, during the first months after graduation. I would say even more if we talk about our master programs. Many of the students already have some vision and do some part-time work already in a company, because it helps for their final thesis to have this really correspond to the needs of an industry. But basically, engineering students don't have a problem to get to work afterwards. Again, I need to emphasize, it's not only about the work in Riga or in Latvia. We are in a common EU market, which is a labor market as well. And obviously, if you follow economic situation, countries like Sweden, Finland, Norway, which is not part of EU, but still close to that, or Germany, they have rather low unemployment rate. Even more, they have a need for engineers, IT specialists, etc. I would say, I cannot say you precisely, but it seems to me that many Indian students do in fact the same. Being master's students, they still do some part-time work, which is allowed by law, in some IT companies, for example. Especially IT students, they find work more easily.
May I add about the internships in tourism programs? We provide the possibility to get an internship in our partner hotels and resorts and tour operators in all Mediterranean countries and also in the Nordic countries. Some of them are paid, for some students can get a scholarship, and that's for tourism industry. But I will add also to my colleagues that this year is very important for Latvian and Indian relations, because today we opened a Latvian Education Center, but 2 weeks ago in Delhi was opened at the Latvian Embassy, which is also a good start for the better relations. And already Ms. Purlaura announced that quite soon we hope will be signed a bilateral agreement between Latvia and India, which allow to Indian students apply for governmental scholarship.
Query. Do all the expat students, do they stay in hostels or do they stay in local communities? And if it is, what kind of acceptance does these overseas students have from local communities?
It depends what students like. I would say, maybe it was not mentioned before, but in my understanding, Latvia is a very safe country. In that sense, being small, sometimes it's a big plus. I would say what I've seen, it's very close to safety in Singapore. Police is in its place. Of course, some accidents, small accidents may happen. Students sometimes are careless. You need to be properly dressed and cold. But normally, as for living, we guarantee hostels. RTU has sufficient number of places in different hostels depending from, let's say, different conditions for students which correspond to the price. monthly price. But I need to say that sometimes students, and Indian students included, they prefer to rent apartment in Riga. An offer is sufficient, in fact. And you have much more privacy, and you stay in larger groups, you have the same community again, but it really depends on students. Our department is not so much involved in that. Sometimes we assist.
The second question is, what nationality tops the number of expat students, and where does India rank in your expat student list?
I guess India is number 2, because if we talk about Riga Technical University, we can always try to be diverse in different countries where students are coming from. So we have about 35 countries, but India is number 2 after Uzbekistan. But then, of course, number 3, I guess, is Turkey, and then we have France, then Germany, Spain, and then rest of Central Asian and European countries in smaller numbers. But definitely, I think we will keep this policy to get students from different parts of the world, really, again, as I said, to create this international spirit.
Just to add, Indian students came only a year ago when this first consulate was open here in India. Otherwise, it was necessary to get a visa through Beijing, through China, and almost no one came to Latvia before.
Yeah, if I may continue, that we tried to get Indian students back in 2004. We were visiting Chennai and Hyderabad, and we had our first graduates who made that through that quite difficult way to get visas through Beijing. And now, 10 years after, we need to talk about Indian alumni. We can maybe provide more data, but they are getting quite good jobs in New York area, in the UK. Some have returned back to India, so the further career path has been quite different, but we can trace. Normally, IT specialists and engineers, they get jobs. I would say they are very demanded.
Excuse me. How is the cost of living in Latvia? As in, how much would a student need to sustain himself?
I would say there is some kind of legal requirement by Latvian immigration, which now is about $500 per month. And I would say it corresponds to decent living. We've talked to Indian students. Sometimes it might be less, but that's exactly the amount what immigration is requiring.
Is that lesser than the other European countries?
Sorry?
Is that lesser compared to the other European countries?
I think it's much lower requirements than it might be for many European countries, and it's justified because living costs, they're real living costs, which means you pay for your hostels and if needed any utilities, and you spend some time in Riga, enjoy, and food, it's not so expensive. Definitely, if you compare with countries in Western Europe, I think for food products you need to divide price by 2. So, and that's, I would say that has worked in many Erasmus projects before, that students from third countries quite soon are realizing that really you have much more money left because you don't spend so much. And scholarships are the same for any EU country.
One more. In your website, we read that Latvia has had a lot of manufacturing activities done, especially for the erstwhile Soviet Union, which is the larger nation. What was the reason why this particular country was chosen so much for the manufacturing operations? What special characteristics did Latvia bring to the erstwhile USSR?
I would say there are at least 2 main reasons. One is that we have skilled labor and really industrial traditions going back to 19th century. And second is, again, our logistics, transportation infrastructure. We have large ports, we have very advanced railroad system in Latvia, and ports are very efficient, so which means that it's less costly and also faster than ship cargo through different ports, even in the Baltic Sea, which is quite efficient in port operations.
No questions, please. I believe it brings to the end of the session. Thank you so much for joining us. Lunch will be ready in next 2 minutes, so I'll be happy if you just join us for the lunch, and then we'll be sitting with you on the tables and having informal discussions. Thank you.